All right, y'all. I can't get a haircut, but Jesus says, take up your cross and follow me. Breathe. Here's this problem that comes to Christians when they are told, take up your cross and follow me. Old Adam takes over, that the sinner inside of us takes over, and we start talking about it in a way that's really different from how Jesus bears the cross. When our Lord would say, take up my cross and follow me, be careful before you mix that with the coronavirus, because remember what our Lord was accomplishing on that cross. He sacrificed himself for the very people hurting him. He actually wanted to work good for the neighbor inside of a world that was broken by sin. Our Lord came into this world not because he was bound to it, but because he loved the people inside of it. He came to bear the cross for the people who would curse him, for the people who would spit him, who would mock him, who would beat him, who would murder him. He came to die for the sinners, for you and for me. And by his death upon the cross, he won for those who did not deserve it salvation. Whenever Christians grab the whole phrase, take up your cross and follow me, though, we end up talking about it as exactly the opposite. It sets us up as victims looking for oppressors, rather than Jesus, who would look for those to save. When we talk about take up your cross and follow me, it's always poor us versus evil world. And so all of a sudden, then we have a combative mentality instead of a sacrificial one. The cross is not so simply Christians have to suffer because of the world. The cross means Jesus suffered for the world. The cross is not suffering as a consequence of a fallen world, but Jesus suffering for a fallen world. If when you say, I can't get a haircut, so take up your cross and follow me, first recognize it's getting a little shaggy, but that's not a cross. That's not suffering. It's mild annoyance. But second, it leaves us so desperate to find the people who did this to us that we can say, woe is me who has to suffer because of my faith, even though the people who cut hair are just trying to stay safe too. The world that we live in, inside of self-quarantine, inside of this fallen world where the coronavirus is taking lives, this is not us versus them. This is us together, redeemed by Christ. When our Lord would say, take up your cross and follow me, it's not look for a chance to play the victim. It's remember that Jesus was the victim for us, and you get to be a part of that. Look for neighbors to sacrifice for, not just play victim to. Look for neighbors who aren't called your oppressor, but who are called chiefly those who Jesus died for. Look for those bound in the same world you're in that you can work good in their lives for. Take up your cross and follow me is simply a call to live inside of your vocation. First and foremost, as a baptized child of God, redeemed, washed clean, made holy by the blood of the Lamb. And second, then, to embrace your life as a father or a child, as a husband or a wife, as a worker or an employer, as a citizen or a government, to recognize that as you are placed inside of these things, it's not us versus them anymore, because the cross isn't about us versus them. It's about Jesus saving the world. And so as we go inside of our vocations, bearing our cross, that means we actually look to do good for our neighbor because we're already taken care of by the cross that redeemed us. Just be careful before you go looking for a chance to play the victim, because Jesus was made the victim for us all.